Hello, my name is Kosh, and welcome back to Arknights Endfield. Thank you for joining me today for episode 9.
It's like I'm chasing the sun, and all my fears are on the run. Can't take my freedom, now you can take my freedom. It's like I'm walking on water, and none of waves don't even bother. This is my kingdom, and you can take my freedom. It's like I'm chasing the sun, and all my fears are on the run. Can't take my freedom, now you can take my freedom. It's like I'm walking on water, and none of waves don't even bother. This is my kingdom, and you can take my freedom.
And we're back. Alright, so it was at this point that we were switching to Gilberto's banner and event. At the moment that I'm recording this, we're already switching to Yvonne's banner and event. So, same as always, 7 days of rewards. 3 of them will give you a total of 5 headhunting permits for their corresponding banner. These aren't chartered or basic permits, they're banner specific permits, so make sure you use them when you get them because they expire. Right, so this will apply for whatever banner you're on right now. So, Gilberto, same as Levantine, I tried them. I did their combat drill. I think Levantine was really nice. I think Gilberto is also really nice, especially because of her crowd control. But she's an arts user. She has an arts unit and she's a nature element operator. So it kind of sounds familiar to someone else that I already have, which is Ardelia. So I'm not gonna pull, or rather, I didn't pull for Gilberto beyond the free permits that they gave us for her banner, righty? So, but I think I will be pulling for Yvonne. So when we get to the corresponding episode, I will show you the pulls. Now, in the previous episode, I know it was a little bit of a mix of story building and pulling, or actually obtaining the characters, Amber and Last Right. I finally have my official team, my main team, which is Amber, Last Right, Ardelia, and Zai, which is actually pretty good. And that being said, we're gonna continue a little bit of building in this episode. I know it's not story, it may not be that exciting, but the building, the factory part of the game is actually pretty important. And I want to share this with you because I'm gonna be making a few mistakes and encountering a few setbacks that might actually help you in the future if you are watching this video, if you're interested making your own personalized factory without blueprints, which might be a little bit more difficult because you have to figure everything out on yourself. Not everything in the game teaches you all that you need, but I mean, the blueprints force you to set everything in certain positions, and if that's what you like, to just not worry about it and then focus on the rest of the game, that's excellent. That's great. It's allowed. But in my case, I really like to personalize stuff. So in this case, I scrapped completely the first version of my factory, the one that you were seeing a while ago. It's gone because it wasn't working for me. It was too amateur, too... Oh, I got an amethyst flow over there. Gotta close the sink. And Yeah, it really wasn't me. It was more of a test. So we'll call that the what should I call it? The Access Factory version 1.5 maybe, because I had already made a few attempts, including the facilities that I placed during the tutorial. So, starting all new with Access Factory version 2. Why XS? Because those are the two letters that I put after my name. You know, that's the story of my name actually. I was going to play RuneScape for the first time in my life. I couldn't use my name Koshx, so I added an XS at the end, which I suppose you could pronounce my name Koshxs, which is a little bit weird, but anyways. Enough rambling about that. Let's focus on the factory. So right here, I'd like to have a little bit of control over everything that will be coming out of the PAC. So as you see, I placed a belt with a corresponding item control port. The item control port is actually very useful because it limits the amount of materials that will pass through it. Through any specific point in the belt. You don't have to put them there. You can put them in any point, at any point in a belt. It's not ideal because it doesn't regulate the flow at which, I mean the rate at which a certain material flows through the belt, which would be great. I would love that because sometimes you may have a shortage of a specific material, be it let's say amethyst, for example. Sometimes you have an overflow. So if you have an overflow, your belt is gonna get full, your facilities are gonna get full, your depot is gonna get full. So maybe sometimes, well, you'll want more of a certain thing, other times you'll want less of other things. So regulating the flow could be useful. Right now we don't have that. We only have the item control ports, which again limit the number specifically of what do you call it, materials that will flow through it. So for example, here I decided that I want to start with the let's say the plant part of the factory. I mean plants as in bugflower and citron, right? I want to make more of them because I don't want to go around picking up plants all the time. So I have two factory facilities, the seed picking unit and the planting unit, which will help me turn plants into seeds and seeds into plants. So what's the point of that, you ask, if you're gonna end up with the same product that you started with? Well, the point is that the seed picking unit turns one flower or one plant into two seeds, regardless of which you are pouring into it. So one bugflower, two bugflower seeds. And each seed turns into one plant. So it's a 1:2 conversion, 1 to 2 conversion actually. But that will multiply your output, right? So you only need one plant to end up with a full depot of them. One bugflower will turn into two seeds. Those two seeds will turn into two bugflowers. You put them back into the depot. You send them back to the seed picking unit. Those two flowers turn into four seeds. Those four seeds into four plants, and so on, right? So it's actually great, and I recommend. I mean, in fact, you should do this because remember, your operators have a tactical gear, which is the consumable that you put in their equipment for them to heal. You could actually put food that will boost their attack, their hit points, their their critical whatever. But in this case, I want them to be able to heal all the time because again, I suck at dodging, okay? So all the heals that they can get, I'll want them. And the team I have is already pretty good at healing because of Ardelia, Saehi, and even Ember. Ember can heal you, and that's awesome. So, item control ports. I'm exaggerating a little bit with them because I'm putting an item control port in every single output port, not just the PAC. I'm putting them also in the facilities. You see that picking unit, the one in the middle? It has an output, I mean an item control port at the beginning of each output port. So you don't need that. I mean, you can, but you need to be careful. It might actually end up being a little bit more of a problem than a solution. You need to know how to use it. Because if you're gonna limit everything, you might end up with a shortage. Spoiler alert. um, but yeah, in this case, I wanted to place I wanted to start with this plant. Produce plants in order to make medicines, and I want to put them in this corner of the AC area, which is at the moment a little bit limited, but hopefully we'll be expanding it soon. So the intention is to pour bug flower from one port into one seed picking unit, citron from another port into another seed picking unit. You could pour both plants into one seed picking unit. It's not gonna process both of them at the same time. It will instead detect the first material coming into it and process it. Once it's done, the next material that comes in, it's gonna process it. So it's going to slow down the process. If you want to max out the efficiency of each facility, only pour one material into it so that you can get the most out of it. Now, even though I'm trying to improve my factory, I'm still making a few, let's call it noob mistakes. I like to learn, I like to make mistakes, I like to go back, redo, remake, retrofit, refit, whatever you call it, and learn on my own. So right now I'm just going with my instinct, and if it's wrong, then I just scrap and do it all over again, or just make a few adjustments. In this case, I got almost the right idea, almost, but the problem is that I'm gonna be needing a little bit of help from other output ports, and I don't have too many of them. I only have 6, and that's where the depot bus comes in, which is what you're looking at. And this is something that you can learn through the guides from the game, through the AAC tech tree. But I didn't understand very well how this worked. I thought that this was a facility that you could place anywhere, but no, those door facilities are actually attached to that huge conduit, should I call it, that goes from one side to the other. And I was kind of struggling to picture it in the AAC area. I didn't know where it'd go, if you could place it anywhere, because right here it's in the middle of everything. Turns out that that's going to be surrounding your AAC factory area, so you'll need to expand it, and to expand it you'll need valley stock bills. In this case, I only have 10,000. I still hadn't started developing my valley stock bill economy just yet. But as you can see, you can expand your area. The smaller square that I have, that you see there, is what I have right now. For 20,000 stock bills, you can expand it to the second level. For 5,000 stock bills, you can get the first depot bus. And the depot bus is actually very helpful because, again, you can attach those loaders and unloaders to pour materials out of your depot rather than the PAZ in the center. Or you can send materials to it, right? So you'll have more options to move materials from one way or to the other, okay? So remember to trade with your outpost. Remember, for that you'll need Origo crust, amethyst parts, at least for the first settlement, because yes, spoiler alert, you'll get more. And each one of them is going to be requiring different materials, so any material that you can trade with them, remember to trade them daily, because you'll want those valley stock bills at the very least to unlock all of this. At the point that I'm recording this, I've already unlocked all of it, so I already have the 2 area expansions and what is it? 5. No, actually it's 6 depot bosses. One very important thing, and this is just a small detour about the valley stock builds. You'll want to come to this area it's to the south of your main base where Director Chin is, and talk to this guy. If you want to unlock the depot bus, in fact, you'll have to come to talk to this guy. I hope it's a mask, right? It has to be a mask, but given the strange people that live in this world, I wouldn't be surprised if that's an actual rabbit. But anyways, he's gonna unlock a new store, basically, or a new economy system in which you can use and gain Valley stock builds. Well, at the very beginning, you'll only have this option to buy stuff, so you'll only be able to spend stuff. But you can buy permits, basic headhunting permits over here. You can see your Valley stock builds over there, but eventually you'll unlock another tab that will allow you to basically, how should I put it? Play as the real stock market, where you buy stuff for a cheap price and sell it for an expensive price. You can do it in your own world, but ideally, and you may have heard this from other YouTubers, you ideally visit another person's world, your friend's world, to sell those materials at a more expensive price and basically crash their economy. Nah, just kidding. You don't crash their economy, but it's just for funds, right? So yeah, add as many friends as you can, because that will open more possibilities for you to buy something cheap in your world and go to another person's world to sell it expensive. But anyways, you talk to that guy and you do the quest in order to unlock the depot bus. I already have the first upgrade over there. It was very cheap, only 5,000 Valley stock bills. And I'm trying to make it work, but I still don't have quite the idea of what I'm doing here. I mean, I'm on the right path, but it's still not the right idea of what I need to do, because this is just being a mess. I mean, I'm crossing belts, that's fine because I have the bridges. I'm trying to put seeds directly into the depot in order to make them flow from another part directly into the planting units, but in the end I'm gonna mix that up. So it feels a little tight, so let's expand it with the first AIC expansion. As you can see, all possible obstacles that you may have encountered, like rocks or stuff, that's removed automatically. And now, as you can see, I moved one of the planting units to that other side of the PAC, which is directly pouring its product into the depot. The other planting unit is pouring part of it directly into the PAC and the other part into the e-protocol stash. So, plants and seeds, all the plants are going into the depot. Part of the seeds are going into the depot, but another part is going directly into the planting units. So I did that because I didn't want to clog this with a lot of belts between seed picking units and planting units. You know, if I had placed one single belt, I mean every single belt connecting from every single port from the seed picking unit to the planting unit, it would have been too much, even with the space that I just acquired. So putting a few of the seeds into the depot through those protocol stash and pouring them out from the depot bus makes it a little bit easier. It's less clogged. Sure, I just extended a very long belt from the depot bus all the way here, but hey, it works and I actually like it. And you may be thinking, why don't you just leave one belt between seed picking unit and planting unit? That's actually that's actually a great suggestion. The problem is that I don't like it. I feel like I want all ports throwing materials, and you know, there's a problem here. This should already be fully automated and fully working, but it's not. Where's the flow? Why is it getting clogged? Why are the plants not flowing? You see what I did now. Oh, there you go. Is anyone there? Hello, McFly. So I actually put plants into the planting unit, which is wrong because you need seeds for your planting unit, because it plants seeds and turns them into plants. So I need to fix this output, these unloaders from the depot bus. And there you go. Now they're pouring seeds. bug flower seeds and citrum seeds, and they're going straight for the corresponding planting units, and the seed picking units are going to start receiving more plants very soon, and I'm going to be multiplying the product. So again, I want everything flowing. I don't want one single belt moving one seed or a few seeds to the planting unit through one single belt. That's gonna be too slow, and right now it looks empty, and you may think surely one belt should do it, but eventually you're gonna be producing a lot of seeds, a lot of plants, so it'd be a waste not to use all those what do you call them, output ports in these facilities. Okay. And here's the other thing that I'm doing. Here's what I'm thinking. I put an item control port at the end of each PAC output, and I did the same in the depot unloaders, right? So I'm thinking the max amount of items that I can hold for each material or each item in the depot is 8,000, right? So if I limit the amount of seeds or the amount of plants that I'll be producing with the item control port to 3,000, those 3,000 plants will be turning into 6,000 seeds, you know, because of the 1-to-2 ratio, right? Those 6,000 seeds will be turning into 6,000 plants, and I'm gonna be storing those 6,000 plants. And even if they come out through the other side, they're gonna be limited by the item control port, so I'll have plenty of plants, and I'm not gonna be clogging the belts. So I know I'm contradicting myself a little bit, but I want everything flowing as long as it doesn't get clogged. You know what I'm saying? Middle ground, gray zone. Alright, so now that we automated that part, I realized that I'm approaching the limit of energy over there at the top. You see 175 out of 200. That means that I'm placing too many facilities, and I'm approaching the amount of power that my factory can give them. If I keep placing more facilities, which I want to do, I'm eventually going to reach that limit or go over it, and we don't want that. Because if the power that you're demanding is higher than the power that you can supply, what do you think is going to happen to the facilities? Exactly, they're going to stop working, or they're going to be working very slowly. But in this case, for this game, they're going to stop working. So we don't want that. We want to prevent that. Okay. So fortunately, we have these thermal banks. This is something also that you learn through the guides in the AAC tech tree. Every single facility that you can place here has its own tutorial, very detailed, very good, very well explained. So don't worry about it, you learn all of it. So these thermal banks basically use energy materials to supply more power to the PAC. The PAC by itself, as you saw, only had a max output of energy of 200, but you can increase it by placing these thermal banks. They don't act alone, you need to put either originum or batteries into it. And as you can see, I already have a depot unloader, an unloader ready to pour some batteries, which means I already have batteries. You may have caught it with the over there to the left, to the other side. You'll see it eventually. I have already placed a battery production line. Over here I have a refining unit to make amethyst fibers. I have that PAC port giving out amethyst, which is going to the refining unit. The refining unit is sending amethyst fiber to the feeding unit to make amethyst parts, and the amethyst part is storing it into the protocol stash. But the protocol stash isn't working. Why is that? Well, it has no power. It's unpowered. And I'm struggling a little bit to find out why it's not working. I think I'm having a brain fart at the moment. But I'll find out soon. So in any case, I have a battery production. I also um, configured one of the ports to give originum. The originum is flowing into a shredder to make originum powder. And those are the two components that you need to make at least the low capacity batteries, the green ones. Yeah, there you go. An electric pylon with just the space to place it in range of the protocol stash. Now we're stashing amethyst parts, and as you can see, there's this other unloader giving out what do you call it? Amethyst parts. I could have set it up directly into the packaging unit, but I didn't want to do that because amethyst parts are also used to trade for valley stock builds with your outpost, with your refugee outpost. So you're gonna want to have them in the depot. So if you need them, set up a belt, set up an unloader from the depot bus or from the PAC directly, and unload it to the packaging unit. Because of the ratio, I only put 2 belts giving amethyst parts, and the other 4 are given originum powder. It's still a little bit limited because of the originum powder. Ideally, you would like to have 2 shredders supplying originum into the packaging unit to have a stable supply of batteries, but in any case that's okay because we now have batteries flowing from the depot. The packaging unit is sending them to a protocol stash. The protocol stash is sending them to the depot. The depot is grabbing them. I mean, the depot bus is grabbing them from the depot and sending them over here through this door. This line directly between them is gonna send them batteries. I have 7 thermal banks and I already have 3 of them working. So eventually I'll have all of this working fully powered with more than enough energy to supply all my needs. So far with just 3 banks I already reached 860 energy capacity. If you can see it there at the top, it's looking pretty good. Surely this isn't going to fail, right? Surely. And don't call me Shirley. Perhaps if you get that reference. But anyways, let me check the item control ports over here. A little bit tricky clicking them. 1,200 seats out of the 2,000 that I limited over here, because I'm also sending plants through the other way. So I think I should be able to reach the 8,000 cap without any problem and without clogging these lanes, which are already currently clogged, but that's because of the rate at which the planting unit works. So what else did I add over here? Now that I have my batteries and the plants, I want to start making medicines. And in order to make medicines, I'm gonna need bottles. You know you need a bottle to put the medicine in, be it the buck capsule or the canned citrum. You're gonna need amethyst bottles. So I managed to deviate a lane of amethyst out of the main production that was making amethyst parts. It's sending a little bit of amethyst all this way to a refining unit, which is making amethyst fibers, and then giving it to a molding unit to make the bottles, and it's sending them to a protocol stash. Now, here I have the filling unit, which will make the medicines. So you see, I need amethyst bottles and powder. So I need to grind the plants. So I need to unload them from a different place, plus unload amethyst bottles from the depot into this unit. And this unit needs to send them to the depot. So you see how it's getting more complex every time? While I was doing that, I also set up a gearing unit, which uses amethyst components and what was it? Orego crust. So I had to set another refining unit to make Orego crust over here. Part of it is being deviated to the depot, but part of it is being used to make gears. You use gears to make gear for your operators. you know, the equipment that they use to buff their stats, and I had to brought it all the way from over here. The amethyst fibers. It's a mess, but it's my mess and I like it. So not only am I stealing amethyst from this, it's one single port giving out all the amethyst because I don't have enough. I don't have other ports available to send it, and I don't have more space in the depot bus because I don't have enough value stock builds to buy the second upgrade. So I had to steal a little bit of amethyst to make the bottles, and another little bit of amethyst. Actually, I'm stealing from the amethyst fibers. I put about all around the AAC area just to bring them here to make the gears. And here you can see I also placed 2 filling units, one receiving bug flower powder, the other one is receiving citron powder from a couple of shredders that I placed right next to the seed picking units. And the flow is very slow because again I only have one port sending amethyst, so it's doing all that it can. And fortunately the amethyst part production isn't suffering because I already have plenty in the depot, and it's sending them at a steady flow, considering that the only thing that is using them right now is the packaging unit to make batteries, and right now it isn't struggling with amethyst parts, it's struggling with iridium powder. But I sacrificed a little bit the efficiency of bottle production and medicine production. But it still looks nice. I mean, it's not a great build, it's not an expert build by any means. This is still just me experimenting. If you've seen other factories from other people out there in YouTube and other videos or whatever, you'll see that it's actually packed. It's completely full. The whole AAC area is full. That's a more advanced build that I may be doing eventually. It's not my goal to just fill everything for the sake of filling out all the space. But it's not bad right now what I have over here. You see, every area is designated. I have a plant, an area designated for plants, an area designated for meds, an area designated for power generation, for component construction. It's still not great, but we're gonna make it work. I added one more belt over here to make another another line of production for original powder, and I'm also deviating a few amethyst parts all the way to a second packaging unit so that I have 2 of them producing batteries, because I'm a little paranoid about running out of power, because this first packaging unit is already receiving enough amethyst parts but not enough iridium, so the battery production is actually struggling a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but at a certain point I had 3 thermal banks working with batteries, and at certain points I only have 2. So the output is not ideal. And it's still not ideal because the iridium that I'm using for the shredding unit is coming from the second port that is pouring out iridium, but its main purpose was to make origo crust, so I'm stealing it from there. So it's not a very efficient flow, but nonetheless now I have 2 packaging units making batteries, right? So what do you think? It's not bad for an amateur build, right? It's actually looking very nice. I like it. So I'm just overviewing the build a little bit to make sure that everything is properly connected, that I'm not struggling with what do you call it, output ports, with input, with item control ports, with splitters. Trying to think what else I can add but I think it's good for now. It's not great. It's almost great. But I think it's fully automated now and self-sustainable. So what could go wrong? Right? Right. So I finished building my factory and I came here to watch the view. I logged out, I logged back in the next day, and I'm still appreciating the view. And what's that? Oh, no, 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 no. Why is everything red? Why are those lights red? What's going on? Oh no. Do you see that at the top? And you see every facility. It's unpowered. I'm currently requiring 390 power while I only have 200. What happened? Oh no. Me and my big mouth. Oh, this is a nightmare. What am I gonna do? Yes, I know. Insufficient power output. Right, let's get rid of the things that I don't need. So I didn't limit the bottles. I think I did at some point, but let me check the control for the batteries. No, 999 batteries out of 3000. So it's not that I limited the amount of batteries that would flow. They still had plenty to give. So what happened? Why did they stop? What's going on over here? So the Originum powder belts are full. We were struggling with those, but what's this? Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe it. So this is why I told you that using item control ports was a little bit of a disadvantage if not used properly. In the process of me trying to regulate this, thinking that 5,000 what do you call it, amethyst parts should be enough to produce enough batteries to power up all the facility, and I don't want to clog the belt. In that process I actually sabotaged myself. I sabotaged myself. So without amethyst parts, the packaging units, the two that I have, were not able to continue creating more batteries. Without more batteries, the thermal banks stopped producing more energy, and without more energy, the whole factory shut down. And what's worse, I don't know if this is affecting the mining rigs. I actually didn't want to check. It would have been a good idea to check, but I'm willing to bet that they are also unpowered. So I need to be careful with what I'm going to do here, how I'm going to approach this, because I mean, turning off things might be a good idea. I didn't think of that at the moment, but it might not be enough, and depending on what I need to craft. Imagine I had come into the game and traded all my origo crusts or amethyst parts, and I wouldn't have enough to make more amethyst parts, well, I don't need the origo crust, but fortunately I tried to fix this before trading in my amethyst parts so that I could produce more batteries. But the amethyst is flowing, they're reaching the packaging units, but they're still not producing batteries because they don't have power. So I need to jumpstart this whole operation somehow, and I'm thinking, okay, so why not use more thermal banks but with Originum? I mean, in the end they can work with just Originum, and I fortunately have plenty in my depot, because even if my mining rigs aren't working, they were keeping the Originum levels at top, because again I'm mining all the Originum that I could find. One thermal bank is not enough. So I increased it from 200 to 150. I am estimating I'm gonna need 4 more to reach 400. I mean 4 in total, 3 more than the one that I already placed, right? to reach 400 because I only need 390 energy. And I'm gonna put Originum into them, at least to just jumpstart the factory, because once it's running again, the packaging units are gonna start producing batteries, which are going to go to the depot. And there we go. So this will only sustain it for a little bit, because the raw originum is consumed faster than the batteries. That's the whole point of using batteries. They take longer to be consumed by the thermal banks. And keeping that flow. And let's remove the restriction that I set with the control port. So these auxiliary thermal banks are not gonna run for long, but long enough for the batteries to start flowing, and it went back to 840. There you go. Now I can breathe. But let's not leave it there. Now we see what can happen. I mean, it's gonna be difficult for it to happen again, because I'm not gonna be limiting the amethyst parts again, or the originum powder, which also had item control ports. But yeah, let's remove those restrictions. Just in case this part of the video doesn't have audio, because I made the mistake of record while there was something else playing in my computer, so it was recorded. I had to mute it. I'm sorry, apologies, but I continue with the explanation. Basically, remove the limits on the materials, and I'm also gonna leave a safe measure, like a backup system to reboot the entire factory in case that happens again. I'm gonna keep the 4 auxiliary thermal banks that I placed. I'm gonna fill them with 50 original ore, which is the maximum amount that they can hold. And I'm gonna connect them to this nice belt of originum that I have over here. But I'm gonna put in an item control port with a limit of 50. So let's say this happens again. Somehow it happens again. I'm gonna have I run out of energy. I'm gonna have 4 thermal banks with 50 originum each. They're currently turned off. If I run out of power again, I simply come to these thermal banks, I turn them back on, and they're gonna have a belt connected to them with a control port that it's gonna let 50 additional originum flow into them in case I need a little bit more power. But that will be it, because by then the facility, the entire factory, the entire operation is going to start working all over again on its own with batteries. Now you see how complicated, again, well, not complicated, complex this can get. And in this case, the bug capsule and the Cancitrum production is being limited by amethyst bottles, which I'm going to be addressing very soon. But now we dealt with the power problem. So be careful when you build your factory so that you don't stumble upon this, or just build carelessly and have fun with the results, I guess. But here you have a few tips for your consideration so that this doesn't happen. Be careful with the control ports, be careful with the thermal banks, the battery production. I'm still not fully confident with this line of production regarding batteries, and I want more materials, so let's go to the refugee outpost.
They're bleeding. We're sick. Uncle Daniel told me to grab stuff.
So when I came here, I stumbled upon this cutscene.
Let's handle the emergency quick, Ginny. Be a good helper and hand us some of your stuff. We'll split the work, okay?
Okay, so that's actually the beginning of a quest that will help you expand this outpost, or make it grow actually. Not physically, but in regarding quality. And yeah, I forgot that I have a sub PAC here with its corresponding AAC area, which I can use to build more stuff. So I had that Origo crust production over there from the tutorial, yeah. But now I use the rest of the space to set up another packaging unit to make more batteries. Because once again I was paranoid with the running out of power issue all over again, right? So to This time I have two PAC or sub-PAC output ports pouring out Originum into two shredders. The two of them are making twice the amount of Originum powder, which is what was limiting me back then in the main base or the main AAC area. And I have one more outflow of amethyst to make more amethyst parts directly into the packaging unit. So this is fully dedicated to make more batteries, and it's producing them at a better rate than the packaging units that I have in the main AIC area. I highly recommend you do this. Use your sub-PAC areas as backups of what you are doing in the main area, and also use them to store basic materials. Once you have all the facilities that you can get from the AAC tech tree, use the main area for specific, dedicated, direct lines of production. All the materials that you're using to create more complex materials or components that you are not storing into your depot, back them up with the sub-PAC area. So in this case I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm making more batteries here, but I'm also trying to take advantage of depot bus, which I also unlocked here in this area, and this specific fitting unit to store a few more amethyst parts, because again, I have more batteries, sure, but that only means that I'm using more amethyst parts, and remember that this packaging unit is not the only one using them. I have two more packaging units depending on stored amethyst parts in the depot to make their own batteries. So I'm gonna need more. So this one is creating them at a increasingly positive rate. So you see now when the last battery was created, I had 6 amethyst parts. Now when this one finishes creating, I have 9 parts. So I have a positive income of amethyst parts over here. So I think it wouldn't mind if I steal one of them every now and then to store them directly into the depot to support the main AAC area. And the rate at which they're being produced is still positive, or at least holding at the same value. See, let's see. 1 battery produced, 22 parts. And another battery produced, 22 parts. So you see, it's holding. You can take your time to take a look a little bit stare at your facilities to see how the production rate is going. But yeah, now that I've solved this energy problem and that I have backups and more parts being produced, I stumbled upon a little bit of another problem, which will become apparent in a little bit. But right now I'm staring at glass right now, but I'm staring at the packaging, at the filling units, which are making the medicines. They're not receiving enough amethyst bottles, but now they will be. So what happened? You see that the the amethyst bottles were limiting their production. I decided to put yet another amethyst port over here to make more bottles, because the one that I was using back in the main AC area was very poor. This one is producing them at a better rate. It's a fully dedicated amethyst belt for amethyst bottle production. Yeah, let's trade a little bit of Origo crust, but that should solve, at least for now, my problem for medicine output or creation. The problem is that now I have 4 amethyst output ports, 4 amethyst lines of production, with not enough amethyst mining rigs. And it's not I think I haven't mined them yet, but even if I go and mine the rest of the amethyst deposits that I have, it's still not gonna be enough. Because most of the deposits, if not actually all of the deposits that I found for amethyst are low purity. So if you take a look at the the backpack, the depot that I have right now, the amethyst, it's gonna keep going down and down. Okay, so I haven't mined all the amethysts. So spoiler alert, even if I mine them, it's not gonna be enough. And the problem with that again is batteries depend on amethyst parts. And if I run out of amethyst, I'm eventually going to run out of power. And I don't want that. So I went on a quest around the map to find more amethyst, to see if there was any other hidden deposit that I haven't found, located, etc. But I just ended up fighting more creatures. Fighting creatures, finding chests, solving puzzles, which was great for my ore barrel economy. I now have a very sufficient amount. In fact, right now I have about 100 and something guaranteed pulls, which I'm gonna be using on Yvonne. Yvonne, not Yvonne. So I couldn't reach the other parts of the map. I still can't go to the Aubrey Quarry unless I start the quest, which I'm not gonna do right now. I still can't go to the other part because the path is blocked, so I need to do quests in order to expand this. But the problem is that my amethyst supply is going down right now, so I need to do something. If I can't mine more amethyst right now, then I'm gonna have to turn off some stuff. Something. Now, I'm gonna turn off packaging units because again, those make batteries. I need the batteries. So what else am I not using? Or I mean, not needing urgently. See, all of these are low purity. I think I'm gonna turn off the bottles. So I turned off the molding unit. I let the sub PAC keep sending amethyst for a while, but that's gonna clog eventually because the molding unit is no longer working. It's already clogged with the amethyst fibers, the belts are already clogged, the refining unit is already clogged because it can't send amethyst fibers, so eventually we're gonna stop that negative flow of amethyst. So I think we're good for now. Until we find more amethyst, we're gonna keep it like that. When I can mine a bit more, I'm gonna turn it back on. Let's wrap this up with a few summons for the Gilberta banner, and that was a 4-star. Let's do one more. Messenger Express Permit. Each banner has its own name. In Levitane's case it was Firewalker, in this case it's Messenger Express. I still haven't checked Yvonne's. And I got a 5-star. Let's see who it is.
I'm your operator from Rhodes Island. Codename
Snowshine.
I'm a search and rescue
Snowshine,
expert specializing in low
you
temperature
are always
operations.
welcome here.
Get me on the team if you have a mission in the ice fields or snowy mountains.
I wonder if we'll find the snowy mountains eventually, but you're always welcome. You have a very nice kit and you're from Rhode Island, and Rhode Island has a very special place in my heart. So at this moment of recording I don't have that many ore barrels, but trust me, right now I have like 31,000 plus 6,000 from the Origeometry plus 22 chartered permits. So I'm hoping I can guarantee Yvonne. If not, I'm okay. I decided to do this free to play, so any character that I get will be fine. Well, not any, there are certain characters that I definitely don't want, but that's okay. Let's do a few pulls in the basic banner. Just a 5-star. No problem, let's see who it is. Okay, let's go
I have
on.
always believed
And
that you will lead us
oh,
upon
nice,
the right
Perlica.
path once more. Well,
Perlica is a great operator. If you wanna do an electric focus team with a mix of physical damage,
for duty.
she's
I've
great.
studied Originium automation and occasionally helped with modifying or repairing Originium devices.
Almost all characters here are great. 5 stars are better and 6 stars are just optimal. So anything that you can get is welcome. So hopefully it wasn't too boring this time. Hopefully my voice didn't tire you. But thank you very much for sticking around. I hope that my mistakes and my recommendations can help with your AAC factory. Spoiler, I'm gonna be scrapping all of that. Everything that you saw in this video is going. I'm eventually going to be building a better factory. Right now I'm halfway there with a much better build, organization and everything. So it's a process. It's something that you need to learn bit by bit, step by step. And once again, if I was able to help in that process, thank you very much for paying attention, and you are welcome if I was helpful. Hopefully in the next episode we'll be continuing a little bit more of story and getting into more significant details. I know that in one of these episodes I'm gonna be doing a little bit of side quests, but don't worry, I'm gonna be cutting them. I'm just gonna be showing a little bit, because there is one side quest that I did that I thought was going to be insignificant, but it ended up being a little bit important. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you made it to this part of the video, please consider subscribing. It's free, not required, but it's there. Liking the video, it helps, but just watching is a huge help. My name is Koshxs. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.
Two souls colliding. We shared the pieces of ourselves. It's perfect timing now. We fueled the flames, but we're still learning to trust, learning to trust. It's never enough, never enough. Burning me up, burning me up. Don't fight the fire. Too much, too fast to burn us out. We walk the wire, love. Don't make me read your mind, I know it. Learn to trust, learn to trust. It's never enough, never enough. Burning me up, burning me up. I won't fall when I'm picking you up. With my hand I won't be strong enough. Our love is strong